There's traffic fines and tons of highway lights. Been in barroom fights and chased by...
It has been 10 years this year.
It was hard, brutal. I don't really like hearing about it at all.
Luck wasn't with him that night.
It was a big shock.
We went to the hospital and just tried to figure out what actually happened.
There's only one word to describe that night, and it's devastating. That night changed all of our lives.
I faced the lion of the thoughts in my head, and the shark of my fear, till the water was red. I tried to salvage what was left of my friend, but couldn't stand for all his modern day trends. I fought a battle of 1,000 to 1. Some bodies fall through smoke in my gun, but I left them all to face the rain.
Thank you. How's everyone doing? Good. Nice. I am very happy to be back in your school. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. My name is Kevin Brooks. And I'm here today, I'm going to tell you a story. I've called the story My Story because I'm pretty awesome with titles.
A friend of mine was working for the city of Abbotsford here and introduced me to Kevin. And Kevin indicated that his desire to become a road sense speaker. And I talked to Kevin, and he told me a little bit about his story, about his crash. And I thought he would be an excellent fit for our program. So I was able to get him into a high school actually in Mission. Hatzick Secondary was Kevin Brooks' very first speaking engagement to grade 10, 11, and 12s. He was pretty scared that day. And I certainly remember Kevin saying, "Boy, I don't know if I can do this, Don." And I said, "Kevin, just connect the dots. Just connect it from your heart to your head, and you'll be fine." Well, after an hour and 10 minutes in the gymnasium, there wasn't a dry eye. Teachers and students were coming up to him and were very, very moved by his story.
Obviously, Kevin, first of all, is in a wheelchair, and that for many students is something different. They're not used to that. Kevin's a young guy, and the way he presents his material, he uses the language that our grade 10 students use. And in his presentation, he talks about his high school years and his partying and his friends.
And I was always like the party or the gong show of everyone. I run out of beers, I want to get some more. And my friends aren't going to let me drive. I mean, for good reason, I was a mess. But I was pretty cracky in those days. I'm like, fine, I won't drive. And when they weren't looking, I snuck off. I hopped in the car. I was going to go anyways. I was about to pull away, my best buddies comes around and is like, "Dude, you're not driving. You're hammered. You could crash. You could hurt yourself, hurt someone else." He's giving me the whole talk. And I'm cocky in those days. Like, "Buddy, beat it. Beer store's around the corner. It's all good. I'm going." But my friend knew it wasn't all good. And I'll never forget the words he said to me next. No lies. Like, "Kev, look at your legs. Imagine you couldn't use those again. Look at your skateboard. It's in the back seat. Imagine you couldn't ride that again. Imagine you couldn't ride with us tomorrow." And I tell that side story for two reasons. One, with the odds of a friend telling me to look at my legs, my skateboard, just a month earlier, as I'm about to drive impaired.
Kevin gives his first-hand experience at how his life has changed. He's able to really connect to our students. Many times students have said, "He's my hero. He's the greatest presenter I've ever seen." And that strikes home.
I try to make you laugh, too.
It was like, you made us laugh. I tried to cry, and you're making me laugh.
They may not remember their math lesson, but they will remember that presentation for a lot of years down the road.
The first time I met Kevin was in my grade 12 year, in the spring of my grade 12 year, so probably early 2008. And he came to my high school to do a presentation, and I was one of those guys at the time who I was like, "Oh, like, I'm so busy today. I have a test later on during the day, and I don't even want to stay for this. I don't even know what it's about. Who's this guy that's sitting in our gym talking to our school?" As the presentation progresses along, you start to identify with Kevin more and more.
Now, I imagine people in this room, you might have a little brother, a sister, a niece, a nephew, a cousin, maybe your own kid, I don't know, little kids around you who like looks up to you, you look out for. Haley's that person for me. I love her more than anyone.
So when he talks about his family values, and that's one of your core values, you say, hey, he's sort of like me, you know, despite the fact that I don't even know who he is, or what he's doing here. Well, you figure out what he's doing. But then he reaches out to you, and as time goes along, you learn to, or you develop this connection with him that's so special, and you feel like it's just you and him in the building. And it's a huge emotional roller coaster. I found myself laughing, crying, not like just waiting with my jaw down, like being like, oh my God, what's he gonna say next? And then in the most serious of times, he drops a joke down.
I could have slept at the party. I could have slept in the garden with a rock for a pillow at that point. Spoon in a garden gnome wouldn't have known any different. It's hammered.
And you start cracking up, and then when right after he makes a joke, then he goes into something really emotional. It's an unbelievable experience that you just can't imagine.
Stop at Summerland to see Nikki. And actually, I am pretty excited to see Nikki. She's rad. This is cool. I met Nikki last year. I just get this Facebook picture. I see like "Just Wiggle Your Toes" tattooed across her feet. And that was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I don't know, the greatest tribute anyone could really give to like what I'm doing is to like take something I said that meant something to them and like permanently have that put on their body, and it's a beautiful piece of art too. Like I just felt so proud. I was like, holy crap, like you can say I changed her life, but when you get that, like I was telling them like she'll be 80 and like she's gonna look down and go, you know, just wiggle your toes. And I'm probably like 15 years old in that girl, so I may be here, I may be not. But you know, like, there's a chance long after I'm gone, that girl's still going to have those words, and that message that I left is going to carry on. Who knows how many people are going to see her feet over the period of her life and go, what does that mean? Or where she'll be, right? Like, it's mind-blowing. It's so cool. People tell me all the time, it's like, I was like a dude, right? Like, I don't really think about myself as like this crazy speaker who changes lives. I know I do, but I don't think I've ever fully fathomed how it actually really does like impact people, like how much, like, because I just feel like a normal dude, right?
I'd say he's been a huge role model to me, and I told him this, but I look like him as a big brother because we've become pretty close, and he's always there to vent at random times, and he gets text messages from me, and he's like, whoa, but it's really easy, and I guess he's given me hope in life.
You know, life throws tough days at us, and if I've learned one thing is that, yeah, we face tough days, but the tough times always get better. And sometimes we just got to grit our teeth and fight and bear down and just get through. That's all we can do is get through. But it will get better. And if you can't think about your own self, the own loss, you know, think about the people who love you.
I was struggling with depression, and I still am, but like it's gotten a lot better. And I was planning to kill myself before his presentation, but I told myself I'd wait. And I guess that was like a huge thing because he saved my life. So I realized that he's been through a lot more than me, and if he can keep going and have a smile on his face, then why can't I? I try to look to the future and look at the positive in a lot of things, and that's what I saw Kevin doing with his life, because I think if I was him, I probably would be really depressed and not want to be alive because look what happened to me, but he turns that around, and that's what help me turn my everyday life around.
Brendan and I met around 5-6 years old. We met through hopping. I wonder sometimes, you know, what he was thinking when he went and hopped in the car with me. I don't remember jumping in. I vaguely remember driving past Old High School, though, coming down this hill and stopping at a red light. And I think about the intersection a lot. There's like a T in the road, so I'm turning right or I'm turning left. Right's home, left's partying some more. And on that night, that's all that it was. But looking back, I see this so much more. It's like a crossroads in life. Whichever way I turn, whichever choice I make, it's going to determine everything. My life, Brendan's life, everyone around us, their lives too. And now I look back on that night, it's not like we were thinking, hey, what could go wrong, what could go bad. We're just thinking, another party is more fun than going home. So we took a left. It's my last memory of the night. I know beyond there I was flying though. They figured between 110 to even 130, 40 kilometers an hour in a 70 zone, almost double the speed. Way too fast if I was sober, let alone drunk. And something went down that night. I was trying to take this corner, a mellow little corner I always ripped around fast in my car, and I didn't make it. Rather going around the corner, the car kept going straight. It struck a little road divider, but enough to launch it in the air, over the divider, over another road, then just boom. It hammers down in the grassy area and starts to roll. Not even sideways, but like front over back style. I don't know how many times, till the car finally stops, upside down, a mangled mess in this grassy embankment. I remember none of the crash, still years later. And up until a couple years ago, I never knew the stuff I'm going to share with you next. Nobody had told me what had happened. They were really worried if I learned the details, they'd give up. I was fighting for my life every day. Well, one day I started asking questions. And still no voice, it was my mom who was there reading my lips to answer them. The first question I asked simply, why can't I move? Why can't I move? The words, Kev, I'm really sorry. You're paralyzed. Paralyzed. And instantly my world, is everything I love is gone. I'm like, no, no. Mom says, Kev, that's why you can't move your legs. I try to move them, they don't go. I just start freaking out, panicking, keep trying to move, they won't go. I remember thinking a little simpler. Maybe I could just wiggle my toes. Because that's easier, right? Wiggling your toes, simple. And I'll bet people listening, maybe you didn't mean to do it. But you could have even just wiggled your toes when I said that. Any toe wigglers in here? Yeah? A lot of you? But at first, that's how I felt. And all I wanted was my friends to be okay, because there must have been people with me. And I started guessing who it would have been. And each friend's name I guessed. My mom said no. When I ran out of friends' names, huge sense of relief. Thank God, it's just me. The worst is over. My mom says, no, Kev, there's someone else with you. I ask who. It's Brendan. Brendan who? She tells me. All I could think is how random. I don't remember seeing him. He'd never been in my car before. How's Brendan doing? Mom, where is he? And my mom looks at me and says, Kev, Brendan died. He's dead. I'm really sorry.
One day you're walking around and everything's easy, you know, not really a worry. And then you wake up and, man, everything is absolutely upside down and blasted to little bits, and you got to put them back together as best you can. And it doesn't matter how hard you try, it's never going to be the same as it once was. You know, I look back on that night a bit and just think about kind of how things unfolded, and I can't help but think of just 21 years prior to that event, most of my life, you know? And I believe that regret is for people who can't learn lessons. So I've learned lessons. I've taken the crappy things that happened, I brought good from them. So I can't regret. Regret's a negative thing. Regret's stagnant. You sit there, you regret. You're not doing anything. You're not moving forward. You're not making that thing any better. Some people, you know, can't get past the fact that my friend died in my car, or the fact that I used to drink and drive, or that I made those choices. It's bugged me before. I've had some interesting encounters with people. People are going to hate, and they're going to hate for their own reason. So I got to let it go as best I can. And, you know, for every hater, there's probably 10,000 supporters. So, you know, why let one person, you know, ruin that many good vibes, right? What happened has happened, and I can't change that. So, you know, it's like focus on the 10 years since and where I've come from then to now and what I'm doing now. Like, man, I can't help but smile. Like, I'm freaking stoked what I do now. Like, I love life so much. I love what I do. I love that I can just turn on that phone or go on that email and just read and read and read the way that I've changed people's lives. Like, that's what it's about. If I could go back, you know, I'd make some changes, but I can't. So it's today, it's tomorrow, it's the rest. That's all I got.
I didn't see a lot of changes in Kevin, actually. I think as a person, because he was 21 when the crash happened, so he's still very young. He grew in a way that a lot of people, or most people, wouldn't have to grow. You either accept what's happened to you and do something about it, or you sink. So it's sink or swim, and Kevin decided to swim.
Like it's just a solid line.
As a family, we all pulled together. A lot of the focus was on Haley, the younger sister, and she was only 5. And Haley actually was the one who saw it for what it was. She didn't understand consequences, and for her, she would many times say, "What's all the big fuss about? He's in a wheelchair and this is fun. Like, I get all these rides." She just saw everything through a child's eyes, like they grew together through this whole situation over the last 10 years.
My little sister means the world to me. You know, like when this all went down, man, I get emotional like whenever I think about her. Haley was always that like constant, that little sparkle, that little like star that when the days were tough, you know, she cheered me up. She was like that inspiration to get through.
Yeah, he's pretty inspirational, like the stuff that he does on a regular basis, getting up in the morning and getting in his chair and doing all the shit that we do normally. It's a hassle, right? Everything. So every day I just, like, if I'm having a tough day or whatever, I just think about that, just getting into a chair instead and dealing with that, right? He gets up every morning and does everything.
Didn't break the chair.
I had this reoccurring dream where I'll just kind of move a bit, and then I'm like, I can move, and I'm like, weird, I can move my legs, and then I start looking at the chair, like, why am I in this stupid thing? And then I like kind of start moving around a bit more, and then I'll like stand up. And once I stand up, I'm like, okay, and then I kind of move around a bit, and I'm like, wow, like I can move, and I'm like, I kind of jump, I kind of run a bit, and I'm like, holy crap, like, I'm okay. Like, I look at the chair, like, why was I in that stupid thing? And then I always have this thought where I'm like, there's a skateboard there. There's always a skateboard. I'm like, should I get on it? Like, I'm like, oh, I could fall. I could hurt myself. I'm like, oh, man, I got to do it. So I'll hop on the deck, and I'll have a sesh. I'll just rip it up. And it might even just be one ledge, and I might only land one trick on that ledge out of like the 30 I try, but I don't even care because that's what skateboarding is. It's not like you land every trick. So I get my session, but the one thing with that dream is I always go, because it's always someone else's deck, and I'm always like so excited. I'm like, I have money now. Like, I'm an adult now. Like, I can go buy a skateboard. Like, no problem. Like, I go to the skate park or board shop. I walk inside. I'm about to buy that deck, and I'm like, just like so stoked. And then I friggin' wake up. And sometimes it's hard, but for the most part, I go, man, I just had that sesh. And I've had some really good sessions in my dreams with my best buddy Jeff and the guys I used to always skate with, where I wake up and I'm like, that was a full-on sesh. I just got one in.
Always something gonna happen when you're hanging around with Kevin. He's always in it for the show.
Basically, because he is a glorified teen still, he can speak to them on a level that they actually understand.
Should you ride this now?
Yeah, I'm riding this right now.
Dude, I think BMX is sick.
I consider him one of my close friends. He's pretty giving friend. He'll try to go out his way to help you out.
Me and Kev grew up skateboarding every day together. If we weren't skateboarding, we were snowboarding.
He's pretty adventurous, always looking for that adrenaline rush, and yeah, he's very into sports, very athletic. He's always been very enthusiastic. I mean, one thing after another, and there's always something on the go, and it's usually bigger than before, but I'm never shocked.
I love spending time with my family. I'd rather hang out with my family than anybody else in the world. I love doing things that are challenging, or just getting on my bike and just going for a boot and going that much harder, that much faster up that hill, or beating that time, or just, you know, just challenging myself and always pushing my abilities or expectations of what I can do. It's always, you know, pushing that to me is a huge thing. I like having fun. I like enjoying life. I like being outside and outdoors and just witnessing the beauty of nature. I think the world is amazing. I think British Columbia is gorgeous. you know, life is all about choices, really. And, you know, there's good choices, there's bad choices, there's really bad choices, there's, you know, kind of crappy choices we learn from, there's ones that we definitely don't want to make. It's easy to, like, take it for granted or sweat the small stuff, but there's no point, you know? Like, we got one shot, and why not make the most of it, right? And why let that stuff that sucks, you know, pull us down? Why not rise above it and, like, kick its ass? Because it feels good to kick its ass and overcome it, and, like, you become a stronger, better person. And, like, it's like you take on this challenge, it's like, what's next, you know? It's like, next challenge, next challenge.
Officially a little nervous. Get you lined up. One, two, three, go. Two, three, go.